Hello, everybody. I'm Shane.
And I'm Nolan.
And you're listening to the Catfish Connection.
Episode 3.
Alright.
How's it going, Shane?
It's going great. How are you?
I'm alright. What's on your mind?
Well, I've been doing a lot of complaining a lot today. I don't know. Nolan is drinking CBD water right now.
Oh, yeah.
Mount Joy Sparkling CBD Sparkling Water.
Yeah. I love this stuff.
And, last night, or not just last night, all of yesterday we went on a road trip. I drove for like 8 hours or something. We went to Pullman and dropped off some furniture, did some stuff, went to Spokane, did some stuff, went to the mall. The mall's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
Put on some like $200 sunglasses.
It wasn't that big of a mall. It was a big mall, but it wasn't like a huge mall, you know?
Yeah, for real.
I think it was comparable to probably like Columbia Center in Kennewick.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it was probably bigger, actually.
There's like 3 malls in Spokane,
yeah.
I think. So like,
there's Northtown, River Park, and Valley Mall.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that the fact that they have 3 speaks like just but
yeah, I was talking to my mom. I found out my mom has never been to Spokane.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, really? She was like, yeah. Well.
Weird. She's even been like random place like Republic. Like she went to this over the weekend.
Yeah, she worked in Republic in Washington. She used to live in Hawaii.
Which you said is just north of Spokane, right?
Yeah.
Weird.
Well, it's not just north of Spokane.
Right.
It's directly north of Spokane all the way up to the Canadian border.
But it's still in like the northeast section of Washington.
Yeah, but they have moose there.
Sick.
Yeah.
You know, a grizzly bear can decapitate a moose with one claw.
Yeah. I don't know if that's actually true, honestly. That's probably fake, but I still believe it, and I still think that if you think a gorilla could beat a grizzly bear in a fight, you're stupid.
You're sorely mistaken.
You're an idiot. You're a fool. So, Shane, what were you going to talk about before we started this episode?
Well, I was going to talk about... Well, while we were on the road, we obviously did a lot of talking and stuff, and at one point we started talking about CBD,
mm-hmm.
And it because I don't at one point I don't remember how it got brought up, but basically my mom a couple days ago we were watching television, and there was an advertisement for something CBD related.
Yeah.
And she was like, isn't that like marijuana related? And my dad and I were like, and they were like, because we both know like about, and my dad was just like, yeah, because like it is.
Yeah,
it's not.
It is.
It's not like because like David was saying that you can get CBD out of like orange peels and like other like that kind of that chemical. You can get it not as strong.
I don't know anything about that, but it's possible.
I think it's like not as potent, but you can get the same chemical out of different things.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And so and I was just like, man, like.
But
like,
it is extracted from cannabis, generally.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's what my point is. It's like, while yes, it is like related to weed and marijuana, it's not like a marijuana thing because it can be extracted from other places.
Well, poppy seeds are extracted from opium.
That's true.
So
yeah,
it's the same deal. You can get something you can get something from the same plant as a drug without it being tainted by that drug.
Yeah, it was just irritating because we're just like. Yeah, and we don't want to like push the conversation any further because she just loves to like start arguments and shit.
Yeah.
And start.
Don't we all?
Start shit, and so and I'm just like, just because her like Christian mindset, like, just like any time that anything is related to marijuana, it's like the devil's cabbage, the devil's lettuce, you know.
Yeah.
The devil's shit, and.
Yeah. I mean, they've been doing a lot of like research about CBD. It's really good for you.
Yeah, yeah, and we were talking about it a lot, and I was like, you know, I really want to get some like CBD gummies now because I just want to see like how much it takes for me to just like, you know, chill and like not be stressed out.
Yeah, well, because CBD is not psychoactive. You know, it's not really. I guess it's technically a drug in that it's like it's got medicinal effects, but it's not a psychoactive drug. You know, it doesn't get you high, so it's like I don't know it's like an anti-inflammatory and stuff, and I mean, I feel good when I take it.
Especially in these recent days where I've had trouble falling asleep, it's like I'm just like, man, I would really.
I actually have had. Like, it does help me fall asleep a little bit. Because I used to have a really hard time falling asleep.
And I think some gummies are, like, really potent compared to, like, other things. Because David's dad, when he was in Arizona, got some CBD gummies. Because he has bad anxiety, like diagnosed things like bad anxiety that and other things that he wanted the CBD for. And it made like he had like 4 or something of these like gummy worms or something out of this big bag, and he like fell asleep. And he's like 6'6" or something.
Yeah, it can definitely affect you like that.
So it's like, man, like I didn't realize because I didn't realize they were so effective and so potent. If even with only having like a handful of them.
Yeah, I mean it's a medicine. It's a drug, you know. You know, it's like taking a bunch of Benadryl or something.
Yeah, so I was just like, I was really interested in that and intrigued in learning about that.
Yeah.
Because Dave and I were just talking about it while you were sleeping.
Yeah, I think it's good. And I'm glad that like recently there's been a lot more like research into drugs and stuff because they're starting to loosen a lot of restrictions. And I just think there are a lot of like really helpful drugs out there that aren't being researched at all because of like this propaganda that all started with, you know, the war on drugs and stuff. And so it's like there's a lot of research into like MDMA being good for treating PTSD. And they've had a lot of like good response to that. And so I'm like I'm glad that people are able to research it now without it being like this big issue because marijuana is considered to be on the same level as heroin. You know, for like forever.
Heroin scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I can't believe it. I can't believe they got away with that for so long, saying that marijuana and heroin and cocaine are in the same category. You know, because that's preposterous. Like that's so crazy to me. I can't believe it. Because, you know, heroin, I feel like it's a pretty fast ticket to like ruining your life.
Yeah, for real.
You know? Whereas, you know, just smoking weed, it's not that big of a deal. Like, as long as you're not like depending on it for, you know, self-medication of avoiding some, you know, psychological problem that you're having, then you know, because you can get addicted to anything, really. You know, and it only becomes unhealthy because you have an unhealthy relationship with it and you're using it to deal with some problem that you're having.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think, Shane?
Yeah, like I agree. Like I'll always be scared of all these crazy addictive drugs like opioids and like heroin and stuff.
Oh my god, I can't. That's
I can't believe that people do meth because meth is like so even like the substance is just awful for you. Yeah. Not even just your brain but your body.
Yeah, it destroys your body. Really, like people who do meth, like their bodies just fall apart over time. It's pretty sickening. But fuck. But the other thing is like you mentioned opioids.
Yeah.
Like there are so many people who are on like opioids right now, like prescribed.
Right, prescription painkillers.
That like,
yeah.
it's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're just people who are addicted to this substance just because they had back surgery or something.
And it's like so much more dangerous to prescribe painkillers than it is to do marijuana.
Yeah. And it's like, and I'm like, it just sucks. Anybody who like has a surgery and gets prescribed morphine and they're like hooked on morphine,
Mm-hmm.
and then the hospital's like, sorry, you have a drug addiction now.
Yeah.
Oops.
Guess we kind of lost the
we did our best.
Yeah.
We did everything we can.
kind of dropped the ball on that one.
Yeah, and it's just like, dog. And that's another thing is like CBD and THC can be used for like pain reduction.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, dude, if you have back surgery, if you can get away, if your back pain's mild enough that you can like smoke a joint and your back feels fine, fucking do that instead of taking like morphine or OxyContin.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Why would you get
Dangerous
yourself
shit.
addicted to like oxys?
Uh-huh.
Like if your pain is able to be managed in any other way, you know.
It's just funny. It's crazy how much control the Christian like organization has over the like people. A lot of Christians are Republicans, and a lot of Republicans right now are talking about how the media is blowing things out of proportion, and the media lies to you and spoon feeds you things.
Mm-hmm.
Like my sister is like that. She's got a lot of hate on Facebook yesterday and today because she was talking about how the coronavirus is completely is not nearly as bad as the media is portraying it,
Mm-hmm.
which is probably partly true, but she's also saying it in like a way that is insensitive and not necessary, which is kind of normal for her. Anyway, what was I talking about?
You were talking about how Christians have control over our country.
Yeah, so they talk about how the media is influencing things, but they've been influenced to believe that things like marijuana, which is a safe like painkiller,
to a degree.
Yeah. I mean, it's not as effective as a painkiller that they prescribe, maybe, but like it still helps.
It's not like it has
way
no
less
side
dangerous.
effects or anything.
Yeah.
But
opioids are just scare me. They just freak me out.
Way better than opioids.
Like the idea that because like everyone gets surgeries at some point in their life.
Yeah.
And
I've never had surgery.
Well, you will. And it's just like it's I don't know, it's just crazy to me that they just hand these things out and nobody is afraid of them. Like there's no Christian stigma against like painkillers.
Yeah.
And yet there is against weed, and they don't line up.
Because weed is fun. They don't want people having fun.
True.
I think that's what it is.
It's sinful.
Yeah. Like, God damn it. I can't believe you're getting some kind of enjoyment out of,
And like CBD helping with like sleeping and insomnia and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, because I used to have
crazy.
so much trouble sleeping.
It's awesome.
I used to be a real actual insomniac, where it would take me hours to fall asleep. Minimum. Like, I would lay there for hours trying to fall asleep, and I could never fall asleep.
I've been doing that the last couple nights.
Yeah.
And
I used to be late to school every morning.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you remember that.
Yeah.
I was always late to school. And I would set alarms, and I would set alarms early, and I would do everything. And I would always end up being late because I just didn't get enough sleep ever. And so it's like having just something that makes me be able to fall asleep is a fucking miracle.
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, thank God that you can just get it in water.
Yeah.
Like that's
You can just
crazy.
drink a bottle of water and hydrate yourself, and then you can fall asleep.
Remember when we were on Friday Harbor, and
Yeah,
I saw that bottle, I was like, there's CBD in this water?
Yeah.
That's crazy. How can they do that? Do you have to be 21 to get this to get this water? It has CBD in it. Oh my God. And they're like, no, you don't have to be.
It's because it's completely harmless, and it's so funny that my mom was like, oh, this is connected to marijuana, huh? I'm immediately going to hate this commercial, and because it's related to that in my mind, even though it can be given to any age.
And I just think it's really cool.
It's just healthy.
That they're just like, and also it's kind of cool to me that some like a supplement that is like good for you is becoming like hip in a certain way. I'm like,
right, yeah.
I'm like, shit. Who knew that we could get people to like taking like a supplement water?
Now we just need to get that with saving the planet somehow.
Yeah. We
make
need
it fun.
Trick them into it by making it related to weed.
Yeah, because like a lot of organic food is hip now too. Like like buying the expensive stuff that's healthy for you.
Yeah.
And vegetarian and organic and non-GMO and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All this stuff is becoming like more attractive to people. Now we just got to get people to not destroy the planet.
How do we use weed to? We've got to figure this out. How do we use weed to save the planet?
I don't know.
Let's see. I mean,
grow so much of it that it just like trees.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, just get like huge marijuana farms that are just like producing, like cleaning the air, and
sucking out of the
everything smells like weed. Cause like if we got enough demand for weed, they would have to be making like huge weed farms, and if we had more of these plant farms, maybe.
Imagine how nice everyone would be to each other if everyone was always high.
I think about that so much. I'm like, I see some people who are just so uptight and shitty. I'm just like, dude, you need to smoke weed.
Just fill yourself with love, man.
Yeah. I'm like, just fucking smoke weed, have some fun. You'll see that you don't have to be a dick all the time.
Ladies and gentlemen, now introducing Krog Slugfoot.
Yeah. I don't... Okay, we're not endorsing drug use on this podcast. I promise.
Make that clear.
I'm not endorsing drug use, but I am not saying you should do drugs. Don't do drugs. I'm saying that. That's my official statement on the matter. Don't do drugs. But I think if more... But
I just see all this hatred in the world, and it makes me a little sad,
Yeah.
Like,
because I think
on all ends,
it would be so easy for people if we got everybody on the planet to just agree to be kind to each other. Then, it would be a dream. To think, but that's obviously never going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's so infuriating to think that the solution is as simple as just everybody is nice to each other, and that's
loving
impossible.
And not hard-hearted.
That's harder than like having like a military coup. Like it's easier to like throw nukes at each other. It's easier to get like to become the president of a country than it is to just be like, can everybody just like. You like being like when people are nice to you, right? And they're like, yeah. And it's like, what if you did that to everybody else?
And then they're like, I do. And then you're like, no, you don't.
Yeah. Because everybody thinks they're like a free spirit and they're just fucking Mother Teresa. But, you're like...
But then someone is like, I hate black people.
Yeah.
And then...
it's like, God.
And then you're like, oh my God, what the fuck?
Yeah.
How can you just decide to not like these people?
So yeah, I figure there must be some way to trick people into being nice to each other all the time. Like, and the other thing is that there's a difference between being nice because you're like putting on like some persona and being like actually just like understanding and empathizing with people.
Yeah.
And being like, I understand why you're doing the things you're doing. I understand where you're coming from, and I am going to be kind to you because, because it just makes sense, you know.
It sucks that it's such a chore. It's like such human nature to not like people that do things that are different from you. Like elite, like metal people, metalheads hate pop artists. Pop artists don't necessarily hate metalheads because they don't understand them and they don't even think about them.
But they probably think they're
stupid.
If they see like metalheads, they're like, ugh, look at those weird, creepy guys.
But like metalheads like actively despise pop culture.
Yeah.
And it's like I recently unfollowed some Instagram accounts that were like back when I was super metal, and I was following all these like Instagram accounts, and they're always just like. Also, I follow #metal on Instagram, which is always like whenever I see it, I'm like, oh, I need to stop following this because every single post is like, it's like Ozzy Osbourne saying, "Who the fuck is Beanie Eilish?" to like Billie Eilish, and I'm like, and then I read a comment section that was like, Billie Eilish makes fucking terrible music, and I hate her and she's stupid, and I was just like, why do all you people just automatically hate this person without you listen to her music and you like automatically hate it because she's a popular artist.
Yeah, I think it's so ridiculous.
And these people are just so filled with hate because they like don't want to understand. They want to be elitist. They don't want to understand the other side of the spectrum.
They feel like they're being, that it goes both ways. You know, that they're being marginalized by the pop music people.
Exactly. Yeah.
That they're treated like they're weirdos for it. Like I remember I used to like see, like in middle school, people would always be on Facebook like complaining about like, oh, it's so stupid that people don't understand like why like My Chemical Romance, you know? And they're just like, so like, they're like people, and they'll just like make shit up, you know. They're like, my somebody said that like, I hate My Chemical Romance because there's no singing in it, and like there's totally singing. I'm like, I don't think people are saying that. You know, they're like, people say that My Chemical Romance is not real music. I can't believe it, man. It's so stupid. And you're like, I don't think people are saying it's not real music. Some people just don't like it, you know. And I'm like, I think it's such like a silly perspective, and yeah, just like elitism in anything is just ridiculous to me. And sometimes I fall into it. Like, Kanoa sent me a song the other day. She was like, listen to this song. I like this song. And I think it's cool. And at first I was like, I saw that it was like some like pop song. And I had this like knee-jerk reaction to be like, ugh, it's just some pop song.
Yeah. Sometimes I still relapse like that.
Yeah. And so I'm like going into it with this bad attitude. And then I like start playing it, and it comes on, and it starts, and I'm like,
and you're trying to hate it,
and I'm like, this is stupid pop music, and then I'm like, actually, it's pretty good. I like this song, you know. I'm like, I don't know why I was being such a dick. Like, this is a pretty good song, you know. Like, there's a reason it's popular, you know. It's because it appeals to people. You know, and so like we were talking about earlier, like there's always something I can appreciate about music. Like, even it's hard for me to say this is good or this is bad. Right. Because there's always things that I like and things that I don't like, you know? And so it's like I can focus on the things that I like and ignore the things that I don't like about it.
Yeah, for real.
Instead of it being like, oh, well, I don't like it, you know, it's bad. You know, that seems ridiculous to me.
Yeah, like an entire genre can be bad.
Yeah.
Like, I used to think that. It's taken years for me to fully come to, like, the place I am now where I can, like, accept music. And it still takes... Sometimes I still relapse like that where I'm just like, ugh, and then I'm like, why am I doing this right now?
I used to be that way about rap music.
Me too.
Like
recently.
Like I wasn't like, oh, rap music sucks, but like a lot of modern rap especially, I was just like, it's so dumb and just you know, but like I started listening to like, because at that time like I was listening to like fucking stupid punk rock, like stupid pop punk rock, and so as I was coming out of that phase, I started listening to Kendrick Lamar first. That was like my first rap artist that I ever actually listened to fully, and was like I'm actually going to like listen to some rap music. And then after that, I was like this is pretty fire. You know, I can keep listening to this, and I can find things that I like in this genre. And so I started listening to that, and that was pretty much where I was like, I'm just gonna listen to anything and not worry about what genre it is.
Yeah.
And just see if I like it or not. You know?
It was like within the last year that I finally came to that point.
Yeah. And that's also
and
why
it makes me sad.
I'm so bad at like recognizing what genres things are most of the time. Like when you and David like know what all the metal genres are, I'm like, I have no idea what you guys are talking about. I can barely do it with rock. Like I know a couple genres, but there are so many genres of music that sometimes, most of the time, I don't start a song and then I'm like, oh yeah, this is reggae post-punk.
I can only do that with metal.
Yeah, you know, I'm just like this is nice music, and it's rock, or it's like that's as granular as they usually go. Is like, this has guitars and drums, so it's rock.
Or maybe like, as you can maybe go more like classic rock or grunge or something, you know. Like,
yeah.
Like you can kind of split it that way.
Yeah, it's easier with earlier genres and stuff. But like there's so many genres right now. Like I don't think I could point out a neo soul song if I saw it. I don't think I could be like, oh yeah, that's neo soul. That's a neo soul song, you know. I would be like, oh, this has got singing in it, and you know. It's like I listen to music more from like an instrumental perspective. Yeah. Like I'm thinking about like each instrument's parts and the singing part and like the chords and stuff, because like I was like raised in like a musical circle, I guess. You know, because I was always in band and stuff.
Right.
Do you have that? Do you have that same experience?
I think so, yeah. Especially more than like most people.
Yeah.
Because most people aren't listening to that at all because they can't relate it to anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I think about that. I'm like, man, I wonder how different my perspective is from somebody who's a non-musician.
Right.
Like it's kind of interesting to think about.
And maybe that's why it makes it hard for us to like really maybe judge music, because like Colton and Jacob can like judge music without even questioning it.
Yeah.
Because maybe they're not listening the same way that we are.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Dead air.
Yeah. But I didn't like. Well, first I only listened to like soundtrack music and like classic rock for like. Well, not when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I listened to a lot of music.
Yeah.
Because my sister played metal and stuff, but up until like you know 7th grade or some shit, I was only listening to classic rock, and then I started listening to metal because I didn't like metal. I thought I was elitist against metal until the Seattle High Adventure Boy Scouts, where David and Jacob were just talking about metal like a bunch, and I was still being like, oh, I don't like metal's stupid. It's just bad rock. And it's just like, you know, like the way my dad is right now, you know, like and then I was like, oh, I finally accepted it, and then I didn't like pop and rap for the longest time, which it was first metal, pop and rap, and then it was just pop and rap for years, and then it was a little bit more into pop, and then it was just rap for a while, and like half pop. And then at a certain point, I was just like, "What am I doing?" Like I started listening to rap, and I was like, "This is good music."
Yeah.
I've been thinking that this is somehow like inferior music, somehow,
Yeah.
Because like Ben Shapiro saying that rap only has fucking
God, that was so
rhythm.
dumb.
Yeah.
That was so
that was the
ridiculous.
point where I was just like, dog.
Let's
Well,
see.
it was before that, but like thankfully by the point the time that I actually heard Ben Shapiro saying that shit, I like knew what I was believed.
Yeah.
I had it fully formed my own.
Gosh. Yeah, I could not believe that he had such a ridiculous take.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't believe it. I was
I'm
like,
Ben
oh my
Shapiro,
God.
and everything I say is very calculated and smart.
Yeah,
Very
I'm like,
smart guy.
you're not even like technically correct.
Yeah.
You know, like, first of all, his whole argument was that it doesn't have harmony and it doesn't have melody, that it's just rhythm.
And those are like the three foundations of music in order for it to be music.
And I'm like, first of all, it's not even missing those two things.
Yeah.
Most rap has harmony, it has a bass line, and it generally will have some kind of lead or melody.
Mm-hmm.
Or the melody can be considered just to be the vocals.
Right. Yeah.
You know? And then second of all, music can not have those two things.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Like there's music out there that's just percussion.
Yeah.
And there's music out there that like just on a snare drum by itself. And there's music out there that's just solo singing. That you know you can't have harmony with a solo singer.
Yeah, if you're like, oh, well, it needs those three things, then anytime you see like, when I went to solo and ensemble, right,
Mm-hmm.
and I played Morceau Symphonique on my euphonium, right, I guess that wasn't music because it didn't have harmony.
It was a solo instrument, so it doesn't have harmony.
So it has rhythm and it has melody. But
who the fuck do you think you are? You're not playing music.
I'm not playing.
They're just like, get out.
I wasn't playing music in this music competition.
Your judges are like, what do you think you're doing? Get out of here. You're not playing music right now. Leave.
It's such a silly take to have.
Yeah.
And then especially he probably
Ventura like, I've thought about this at great lengths.
Like a lot of people have said like, well, what about like John Cage or something like that? And I'm like, Ben Shapiro probably doesn't think John Cage is music then. You know, like he like most of his stuff because of it, like he has like really like pushing the boundaries, like experimental music.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like,
is that the guy that invented instruments and then had people learn them?
I wouldn't put it past him.
Because I'm pretty sure you told me about someone who. No. It was Durkee. Durkee told me.
Oh, okay. Because Ben Johnston, he invented a tuning system and had people learn it.
Yeah, because it's over there. Because you told me about Ben Johnston first, and then I went to Durkee, my old guitar teacher. Now your current guitar teacher once coronavirus ends.
Yeah, hopefully.
And
I feel so bad for Durkee. I hope he's like has some source of income during this.
Yeah, for real. I mean, he can file for unemployment and
That's
stuff.
True.
You know?
That's true.
Like people.
And I don't think he's like poor. You know.
Yeah.
I think he's probably fine.
He takes trips to Japan like several times, all the time.
So.
Anyway, I went to him with Ben Johnston because I thought it was interesting, and he had just shown him to me, and he was like, "That reminds me of this like other guy," because he knows everything about everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is directly pertaining to music, but
Durkee's a legend.
He knows everything about everything. So he was like, "Oh, I know this really reminds me of this other guy," and he would like, and he started telling me about how he like created instruments and then hired people to master them and then perform them in his orchestra of weird instruments.
Mm-hmm.
And then he made like really atonal music with these like weird wacky instruments.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past John Cage. Do you think it was John Cage or do you think it was someone else?
I think I saved him on Spotify. It might have been. I think it was someone else. I don't remember it sounding like such like a European like name, like a white name or like an English name, you know.
Yeah. Dead air.
Yeah. But I think it might have been like Scandinavian or something. Some sort of like, I don't know, or maybe Russian.
Those Viking boys. Yeah, or the Russians, because the Russians had a lot of great composers and interesting experimental composers. Especially because I think Russian music, at least like old classical Russian music, there's a lot of really interesting stuff just because the Russians have been through a lot as like a people.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, holy shit. Because, like, Shostakovich.
There's some dark stuff.
Yeah. Or, like, Russian Christmas music by Alfred Reed.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember playing that?
I do.
Okay.
That was a cool one.
Yeah, it was like, and it was so, I thought it was really interesting. I talked to Bruce about this a little bit, my symphony director in high school. But, like, Russian Christmas music by Alfred Reed is really interesting because, like, any Christmas music is generally very, like, happy and Christmassy. And,
right, yeah.
And, like,
perspective.
lovey and, you know. But Russian Christmas music is extremely, like, dark and, like, very somber. And, like, it's because, like, Russian Christmases, you know, you're in the middle of winter in Russia, and you're like, and Russia is not exactly an affluent country of like rich people, you know. So there are all these peasants who they're starving to death and freezing to death, and their family and friends are starving and freezing, and so like.
And it's been going on for forever.
Yeah, and so it's like, that's a pretty like harsh reality. And so, like, just like the cultural difference of like Christmas is not a happy time for the Russians, and so I thought that was really cool, and like the Russians are kind of like that with a lot of other music too. I mean, we played Symphony Number 5 from Shostakovich, and that's pretty dark too. Dark. I guess
it's still grand.
Not necessarily as much dark, but it's definitely about like Russia being.
It doesn't sound as dark as some of his other music or some of other Russian music, but it is still dark in nature.
Yeah, and Tchaikovsky obviously has a lot of dark music. You know, so yeah. I mean, I wonder if there's any good music coming out of Russia today. You know?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, all the entertainment it just comes out of like Hollywood.
I did hear
and then random artists in America and stuff.
Apparently, there's like a crazy punk scene in the Middle East.
Really?
I think in Iraq, there's like a really insane punk scene.
Awesome.
And I'm like, that's fucking gnarly.
Let's go there.
You know, because I don't remember who was talking about this. I think it was a podcast I was listening to. But it might have been Duncan Trussell, but he was talking about. I think it was Joe Wong on Duncan Trussell's podcast. He was talking about how there's this punk scene and like people think that like the American punk scene is dead. You know, it's like a joke, like punk is dead.
It's like disco is dead.
Yeah, but the thing is, you know, punk has just moved on to where it's needed the most.
Right, yeah.
Because punk is all about, like, standing up to the man.
Yeah.
And, you know, Americans are kind of over standing up for the man in that certain respect. And so, like...
Maybe we need some more of that.
Yeah, we need some more punk energy around here. But, like, so punk kind of, like, fizzled out in America a little bit. But in other places where they have it a lot worse... You know, punk has reincarnated and is alive and well, awesome. trying to take down the man somewhere else, and I think that's rad.
I've found some Indian metal bands.
Oh, I've heard about that.
Yeah, there's like one or two that are actually popular.
Isn't there some like really awesome like alternative like rock stuff coming out?
I probably yeah.
Yeah.
Because just considering there was some like.
Because the music industry is extremely America-centric right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Extremely.
Oh yeah. Like, even the people who weren't born in America moved to America to tour here.
Yeah.
Like the Marbin, the Israeli jazz fusion, like gypsy jazz. That I went to see in Idaho. That tours like 250 days of the year or something. Like, they're both from Israel, and one of the guitarists actually came here to go to Berkeley, and he's really good. And yeah, so they came from Israel, and they're like they can't really do much of touring. They can tour the entire country and never go to the same, and well, they do sometimes go to the same place a couple times, but they don't have to go to the same place twice, because there's so many venues and there's so much stuff to do here.
Yeah, well, because it's so weird that LA is where you go to be an artist now.
Yeah.
In anything. LA is
right.
the modern art capital of the world.
Oh yeah.
It's.
I mean, you don't have to go there for music.
Yeah.
But definitely most things.
But acting.
And New York has some theater too.
Yeah.
But music can go most big cities, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, LA is it's all centered there,
Yeah, and there are a lot of musicians, a lot of comedians and other personalities, comedians, YouTubers, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And actors and
writers.
Yeah. All kinds of shit.
Everyone that works for the movie industry, so that includes editors, writers, producers, just directors, just all kinds of people that are required to make a movie.
Yeah, it's so interesting, and it's New York used to be the place you go to I'm gonna
graphic designers.
I'm gonna pull myself up by my bootstraps, and
I'm
gonna make something of myself in the big city, in New York.
Maybe in a business sense still.
Yeah.
Not LA isn't necessarily the place to go if you from a business perspective.
Yeah. But if you're
in the entertainment industry,
in entertainment, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
If you're in the entertainment industry, you're I'm gonna go to LA.
Mm-hmm. That's why I want to go to LA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to come with you and David.
Yeah.
To LA.
Because Seattle is great and has a great metal scene, and also even not excluding not just metal, but all music is just. Seattle has a good music scene.
Yeah.
It birthed the fucking Nirvana and Jimi Hendrix. Literally all the airplanes.
Bill Gates.
All the airplanes in Seattle have a big face of Jimi Hendrix on it.
I didn't know that. Is that a real thing?
Yeah, if you go to SeaTac, the SeaTac airport, well, not every airplane, but
I've never been on a plane.
I don't know what brand it is. It might be Alaska Airlines. Mm. All the ones that are from Seattle. There's a lot of planes in that airport that have Jimi Hendrix's face on the tail. Mm. And they're it's crazy how much of an influence he had.
Yeah, big Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah. And so obviously music, good music comes out of Seattle and is based in Seattle.
Yeah. And
especially metal. But LA is just the center of everything.
Yeah.
And LA is also farther away from my parents.
Yeah.
Significantly.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember you texted me and you were me and David, if we were to move to LA, would you move to LA with us?
Yeah.
And I was I mean, honestly, if you guys were both in LA, I don't see why I would not go to LA.
Yeah.
I think if you guys were both moving anywhere, I'd probably be I'll go there.
Cool, yeah.
Because it's I don't know why I would be yeah, I'm gonna move to Pasco while you guys are in LA together.
Right.
And I'm just gonna be here in Pasco by myself.
And the other things,
I don't have any other friends.
You were talking about the jobs you're looking for right now are so plentiful in LA.
Yeah.
Just basic
PA jobs. Yeah, radio jobs and
just any basic entertainment job that has to do with technology.
Yeah.
Entertainment technology stuff. It's there's so much of that there. A ridiculous amount of that there.
And I've been considering getting some kind of training in entertainment technology.
Yeah. Because I was thinking that I would try to get hired to a radio station there or something,
Yeah.
because of like my experience.
Yeah. But yeah, because I'd like to have some kind of qualifications, you know, because that's the thing is that the only thing is the jobs are plentiful, but the applicants are also plentiful.
Yeah, for real.
You know, so it's like
Didn't have the experience.
I've really gotta like I want to, if I was to move to LA, you know, I'd want to have some kind of credentials or qualifications to get a job there, and I'd probably want a job lined up there instead of just like going down there and being like, oh, I'll figure it out.
It might be kind of tough, because like,
you know,
we might have to also like stagger down there, honestly, a little bit, maybe. Yeah. Maybe like.
You're gonna be the most successful early, so we're just gonna like. First David moves down there, and then he just is homeless in your apartment for a while, and then he gets a job, and then once you guys are both stable, then I move in, and I'm homeless on your couch for a while, and then I get a job. Because
it's like, you can't really move down there unless you like line up a job. You like and
what are the odds that we're gonna all have jobs like near each other?
And what are the odds that we're all going to get jobs if we all apply at the same time and all get jobs at the same time? Yeah. Like, and then be able to move down at the same time.
We should start a business.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like...
And hire each other.
We have... That's why I'm, like, starting so early with all this, like, producing stuff and like, this podcast, my music, the, like, YouTube stuff. It's, like, if we can get, like, supplemental... like income, and it like not just us, like I mean we're talking a conversation, but in terms of the podcast, like anyone out there who just like my brother is having problems with this, just like putting yourself on so many like enough things, I want to have like several different sources of income that are and I want to actually grow. I want to start now so that by the time we're actually planning on moving to LA, I'm actually maybe getting some income from like different sources. Yeah. Like different, Yeah,
I think you guys were talking about that in the car.
Probably, yeah.
Also. Yeah, I mean,
so we have like 3 or 4 years to become at least some sort of public figure.
Yeah. But I'm not that worried about like rushing it, I'm kind of like I have a lot of life ahead of me, like I have a lot of time, and so I'd rather like continue working on this constantly while at the same time setting up like a stable like base for me to live off of. So I'm like...
And that's why I still want to get the radio job there, because, like, even if I have a supplemental income, like, I probably won't be able to survive off of it by then.
Yeah, because I'm like, being a musician's not going to be like, oh, I just need to be homeless forever, and then I'll just become a musician eventually, and that'll be my thing, It's like, I want to, get a solid job, which I can like really rely on for money, so that I have the freedom to work on my music all the time.
And it's related to like music technology in some way.
Yeah, and start like networking and like
working at like a recording studio would be cool. There's tons of those down in LA.
Yeah, and like and my main focuses are like TV and radio, and because part of the reason like movie houses, like editing and like post-production stuff, like I think that would be cool also. And just like any entertainment job, I think, because that's where a lot of people start. Like, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and so I've heard a lot of like comedians and musicians say that they got their start in TV and radio and stuff like that, but a lot of them also like have worked in warehouses and all kinds of grunt work, Right. Like it just takes time, and so I'm just kind of rolling the slow and steady kind of thing right now,
Yeah, and I haven't actually like thought about been thinking about Prospis in a while, but like by then I definitely want to have like some sort of name, because if you're like performing live, I don't think it's honestly that hard to like get some sort of following.
Yeah.
Because like it's kind of hard to build it like on the internet.
Yeah.
A little bit because
honestly
I just don't know what I'm doing.
I think as soon as we have a drum set and we have a couple songs that we know, we should start playing anywhere we can.
Yeah, the only reason I kind of like stopped out with the whole thing is because of the virus.
Yeah. I
mean, that's the whole reason I didn't get a drum set either.
Yeah.
So it's...
Well, that's part of it, and part of it is that I'm poor.
Yeah. Well, because when you got your, like, your tax return, you were going to get a drum set, but your dad said you can't get one until you get a job.
Yeah.
And you can't get a job until the virus is over, really.
Yeah.
Very easily.
Yeah, and, because that, like I was saying, it's the same situation I was talking about earlier, where there are a lot of jobs right now, but there are tons of applicants.
Because, like, there's an incredible amount of the country is unemployed right now.
Yeah. Because, yeah, it's like, it's hard to get a job. And, like, my dad was kind of getting on my case about it. And I'm just like, dog, the entire country is unemployed.
Yeah.
Like, saying that I should have a job by now is like saying to somebody in, like, the Great Depression, like, oh, you should just get a job. There are tons of places that are hiring.
Yeah.
You know? I saw a sign the other day that said help wanted. I'm like, yeah. And you know who else saw that sign? Thousands of unemployed people who are all trying to get jobs. So it's not happening. You know, and I had that Best Buy job, like, lined up. And I feel like I probably... I think it's entirely possible I could have gotten that job if it hadn't... Because the virus started getting serious right after my job interview.
Yeah. I feel like, if they interviewed you... Because you have a very charismatic and knowledgeable, like, experience with technology. Like,
thank you.
I
do my best.
Approach, you know?
Well, yeah.
They would definitely know that you know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And, you know, I think I did a good job in my interview. And I think I did better than I've done in previous interviews because I've managed to get hired from interviews where I was, like, super anxious the whole time. Mm-hmm. Like my first Pizza Hut interview, like, I was, like, so anxious at that time. You know, it was ridiculous. And now that I'm, like, way more, like, self-confident than I used to be, like, I think I did really well in my Best Buy interview, and so I think I probably could have gotten hired there pretty easily.
But then they just, like, shut down all hiring.
But yeah, and then the like, we hadn't been, like quarantine hadn't happened yet.
Yeah. But
it was starting to get, like certain businesses are getting closed. Mm-hmm. And stuff, and people are getting sent home that are unnecessary. And so they're like due to the coronavirus outbreak, we're focusing on the people we already have, so we're not hiring anybody. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
I need a job, because that was, like, pretty. I guess it was a while after I moved back, but it was one of the first jobs I applied for since I moved back. You know, so it's like I had been working on that one for a while, and then it's just like, we didn't even choose somebody else. We're just not hiring anybody. So I'm like, fuck, dude, that sucks. Mm-hmm. You know, because I'd understand if they were like, we chose somebody else who was better suited to the job. You know, I would accept that and move on. Right. But to be like, fuck, the universe really just screwed me on this one.
Yeah.
You know.
Like, imagine if it had been, like, a week earlier.
Yeah. And then, like, what if they had just, like, hired me, nothing happened, and I was, like, on the job, and then coronavirus hit, and then they, like, sent me home temporarily. I'd know that at least when we're over this, that I would have a job, you know, or I would be able to, like, keep working there during it, because I think they're still open.
I think
so.
At least the one, I don't know if the inside is open, but they still are functioning. I think, like, like I think at least the one I went to in California. And California's doing better than we are, but the one I went to in California wasn't letting you inside, but they were, like, offering you service outside, so they would go get things for you that you asked for.
Gotcha.
Or they would do, like technology service for you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's still running.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm like, cause that's the other thing that irritates me when anybody gets on me about not having a job, is I'm like, I want to have a job.
Yeah.
I hate not having a job. Believe me, if I could have a job right now, if somebody offered me a job, if somebody walked through that door and said, "Do you want to work for minimum wage?" I would say, "Yeah." I would love that.
Yeah.
Please hire me. Cuz I hate like having nothing to do all the time, feeling like I'm not doing anything all the time, you know? Like
right.
And I want to have like a disposable income, you know, and be able to like start like saving money, you know. I'm like, cause I want to. If I had any kind of income right now, I would be able to save up for the drum set,
mm-hmm.
you know, or for anything else that we're.
And then we'd be able to start recording.
Yeah.
I've stopped writing songs for that band because of just like all this, and I've been focused on other productive pursuits, but and creative things, but like, especially when I assume when I go back to WSU, I'm really gonna crack down on it.
Yeah.
And then on weekends when I come back and stuff, or like during Christmas break, which might actually Christmas break might be ridiculously long. Because I heard Central is pushing back, or they're having people come back 2 weeks earlier. I think it was Central, so that they can have 2 weeks, the 2 weeks between Thanksgiving and Christmas break, like off, and so then you have like 2 months of winter break. And I'm hoping that we might do the same.
Why is that? What's the thinking behind that?
Probably because, well, they don't want a bunch of people going back and forth a bunch, because then there's more like likely that it's like they're going to like at some point
cross-contaminate.
Yeah, they want people to be there
it's
for
weird.
a long time, and then they want people to be here for a long time.
Yeah, it's weird like having to think about that kind of stuff now.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna be really interesting when like we finally get like turned loose. And cause we're gonna have to like deal with all this shit that we've never had to think about before.
Yeah. And it's gonna last a while. I'm hoping that it will die down eventually, but like the masks are gonna last a while.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And this whole like being careful and classes being either online or like lower quantity, like lower number of seats than normal.
Yeah.
Just because of demand, like safety and stuff.
Yeah, and I've just been thinking about like how much stuff we've just like gotten used to over here through this time, like that when it stops, we're gonna go through a drive-through and somebody's gonna like touch our card with their bare hands, and we're gonna be like, what are you doing? Oh,
I like watch movies now, and I'm like, God, these people are like totally. It's like, this is what normal looks like. Like,
yeah.
Like, I took this for granted.
like, you can just, like...
I never looked at this and thought it was weird before.
Yeah. Like, just standing near an old person.
Like, we were watching Yes Man with Jim Carrey, and they went to the airport, and the airport lady was just sitting there. There was no glass, there was no mask, and I was, like, a little tweaked out.
He's, like, leaning over the counter and shit.
Yeah, and they're, like, touching things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, the things that, like... I'm used to already, just from a couple months.
Yeah.
I
mean,
it has been like a third of a year already.
Yeah. And I remember, like, was it you, me, or David who said that there was no way that it was going to go on until April?
I don't remember.
Because I remember the words being said, there's no way this is going to go on until April.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's June.
Here we are in June. There's
no end in sight.
Yeah.
We're here for the long haul.
Because I remember it being like before it had even reached the U.S., like it was like growing in other countries, and it wasn't even very big on the news. Like, I'd only heard a couple things about it.
I just heard about it through Instagram memes.
Right, yeah.
For the first, like, month.
I remember Riley
I was just
mentioning
like,
it.
what's this like Corona stuff about? Like there's these memes about Asian people.
People really didn't think it was going to get as out of hand as it is.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, it's not even going to really end up to being anything big. Like,
yeah.
And then here we are. Like,
people are going nuts about this.
Yeah, 2 weeks after this, after people were saying that, I got sent home from the university and started online classes.
Man.
And it's been this way ever since.
It was so crazy. Like, we had to move you home. It was, like, really weird.
Oh, yeah.
It was weird, like, just being there and being like, man.
And that was in the thick of it. We're kind of like, honestly, we can do whatever the fuck we... Like, back then, like, we were afraid that we would get, like, fined a lot of money for just being out in public.
Yeah. Yeah, like, the cop showed up to the skate park while we were there, and we left.
Ditched. Yeah, we're like, hey, fuck that.
Yeah.
I ain't getting fined.
Yeah. Now it's like, you know.
Yeah, because now they're even allowing groups of people to, like, hang out. And
people are at the tennis courts. People are playing baseball.
Most places, that's crazy. That's just a stupid Sela thing, though.
I can't believe people are crowding together in the middle of a virus pandemic to watch high school baseball.
I think that's just because our community is retarded.
Yeah, it's true. God. Yeah, it's like the whole...
Because that would not be condoned by the, like, Washington, like...
Yeah. Because, people... The lower lot of the high school will be, like, filled with people and watching high school baseball like it actually matters.
We're, like, the worst county in the state right now. And I fucking wonder why.
Yeah.
With all this, like, this shit going.
Coronavirus deaths are up right now.
Yeah.
So, it's like... Yikes.
Like, we're in the lowest phase. Like we go into Spokane. They even have malls open.
Yeah.
Things are open places.
Yeah, Spokane had the fucking mall.
Reading is barely closed down. Like, they have so much open.
Yeah.
And they don't have and then it's like, and then you walk into Yakima and it's still like phase like 0.
Yeah.
Like, you still have trouble getting anything.
Restaurants are closed. Malls are closed.
I went to Ellensburg. It's funny to me that you can go half an hour in one direction and be in a different phase.
Yeah.
So, like, these places that are in higher phases are, like, attracting people. And that's just going to make it worse there. Yeah. So, like, places that get into phase 2 are just going to retract back to phase 1 because they have all these phase 1 people going to it. Mm-hmm. And giving it to them.
But at the same time, I don't think most people are, like, driving to Ellensburg just to go to Burger King, you know?
Well, we went to a sit-down restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was like the Palace or something like that. I got prime rib dip. It was like a restaurant.
Yeah.
And we actually, like, it was the first time, except for in Reading, that I had sat down in a restaurant and eaten food and not had to go, like, get it takeout or go through the drive-thru or whatever.
Speaking of restaurants... Excuse me. Speaking of restaurants... When I was living in Tri-Cities, my dad came to visit me. It was nice, because I was like sick, you know. My dad came to visit me, you know, while I'm in college. And we went to a restaurant in Kennewick, and it was I don't remember if I, like, knew what to expect at all, but it definitely, when I got inside the place, I was like, this is not what I was expecting. It was like a barbecue bar kind of place, you know, and it was one of those places that has peanuts on all the tables.
Oh, wow.
and I noticed, I'm like, there's peanut shells all over the floor. My dad's like, yeah, in this place, when you eat your peanuts, you throw the peanut shells on the floor. You know, it's like a thing. And I'm like, wow, so this restaurant is disgusting, is what you're telling me?
Yeah.
You know, like people are like, man, that's cool. Like, when you finish your peanuts, you throw the peanut shells on the floor. You know, but I'm like, they're just throwing garbage on the floor in this restaurant? Wow, cool. You know.
Neat.
So, like, and the food was good, and I had a good time with my dad, but I was like, This is so weird. Like, I don't know what the appeal is. I don't know what's the appeal to that? Like, why are people like, oh, that's cool, they throw the garbage on the floor?
That would probably be pretty popular in Yesila.
Yeah.
Like, with the, the ween-ass people.
Yeah. Ween-ass. And it was called, like, Texas country buffet, something like that.
Country folks, they're like, man, I really like spitting the spittoon.
I've been really dunking on ween-ass people recently.
Oh, yeah.
Like, with the telling you about the, like, touring around the farm and shit.
Oh, yeah.
God.
Yeah.
It's just such a culture,
Uh-huh.
It's weird.
Especially strong in Sela.
Yeah. Well, yeah, ween-ass culture in particular is very strange.
Our ag department is...
Yeah.
High school is like, ridiculously high.
But
Strong.
it is nice having such good apples.
True.
Because the apples around here, they slap.
The apple capital of the world.
The apple juice capital of the world.
Well, yeah.
I don't know. We might be the apple capital of the world, but
I mean, the apple's like our emblem of the
you guys.
of the city.
You guys out there like Treetop? Treetop HQ is in Seattle, Washington.
The like most humbucker like place, like random place in the country.
Yeah, this weird pocket of the Confederacy in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah. Where like there's a weird amount of people that just have Confederate flags and the weenass.
Yeah.
Like off branch of the town.
Yikes.
It's like,
yeah.
How did this happen?
I tried explaining to my Australian friend what weenass is. I was like, yeah, it's like this road that like goes out of our town that like people live near, and they, like, if you live out there, you're like, oh yeah, I live out weenass.
Uh-huh.
It's like its own area.
Right. Yeah.
But it doesn't have, see, like, Glebe, the difference with Glebe is Glebe actually has like a designation, like on the map it says Glebe.
Right, yeah.
Whereas
Weenass is just a street.
Weenass is, it's just a road
that
people live near. And it's like, oh yeah, I live out Weenass. And it's like, oh, I live out Weenass, yeah. Where do you live? And they're like, oh, I live off Gibson. And you're like, oh, that's, I'm on Clemens View, Gibson, which is off Gibson. So we actually live pretty near each other,
Uh-huh.
And they're like, oh yeah, I have a cousin, he lives on Lakeshore, but I think they're gonna, it's like, it's this whole area where everybody's like, just
farmland.
Country folk. Oh my gosh, I'm full of gas right now. And it's all coming out of my mouth.
Ooh.
But anyways, yeah, it's very unique. Cause it's like Washington. Most people, when they think of Washington, they think of Seattle.
Yeah, we're a blue state.
Yeah, and we're a blue state. And so they think of like high density city and like rain and
and forest
and stuff. And
I mean, we're the fucking evergreen state, and half the country's desert, or half the state is desert.
Half the state is a fucking awful desert. We don't even have cactuses. Actually, we do have some cactuses.
We have small little like plant like little patches of cactus and stuff.
Yeah, first time I found a cactus, I was walking out Weenass and I was like, oh my god, there's a little cactus growing on the ground, just wild. We had
some wild cactuses on Goodlander Road or Goodlander Drive actually, in the big hill.
Oh yeah.
I had one or two little things.
Yeah, and I was just like, wow, we really do live in a desert. Like, this is a desert valley. We live in a desert valley. It's strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never been a big fan of the climate around here.
I'm not a big fan of deserts.
Yeah, I'm a tree person. I love trees.
Me too.
I'd rather live in near a forest. I like whenever we go to California, just being around all the trees, and being able to like be in the woods.
I love
just
the woods.
like natural trees.
I love forests.
Because there are trees here, but they're all planted.
Right.
They're not like, they didn't just grow here. Whereas like when I'm at Mel and Dave's house, and you're just like, instead of people planting trees, people cut down trees to make space for houses.
Right.
Instead of being like, oh, here's a house, we'll put some trees up around it. And so you go out and walking, and you're just like, oh my god, these trees are like so old, and they've been here for forever. Some of them have been burned. There are trees that have like there are these like trees that have been bent by Native Americans like hundreds of years ago, like that are like they're bent to like mark paths and stuff, and I thought that was like crazy. I was like, whoa, these are the same trees that like Native Americans from like before it was America were like fucking with these trees.
That's sick.
You know, I'm like, whoa. Because, you know, if you have a tree in your yard, you're like, yeah, this is an old tree. It's like 20 years old.
My grandpa planted this tree.
Yeah. Whereas it's like, yeah, this is an old tree. It's 500 years old. You know, or like the redwood forests where they're like thousands of years old, or like, oh my gosh, there's some really, really old trees. There was like one tree that we saw that had a sign because it was so old, and it basically explained that this tree was like this tree started growing like when Jericho was built. And I'm like,
damn.
Oh my god, I can't believe that. That is like so hard for me to wrap my head around. And you can like touch this tree and be like, oh,
the history that has happened in the world that this tree has lived through.
This thing has been alive for that long. Like, I'm touching the same tree that people touched thousands of years ago. You know, and people have lived and died near this tree. You know.
Trees are crazy.
That's insane to me. You know. What? Who cares about a cactus? You're not like, oh my gosh, this cactus is 20 years old. Oh my, you know, you're like, it's a cactus, dog. I don't care.
And just forests are just so full of like mystery and stuff. Just the like energy to a forest is so much cooler than like deserts or most other places.
Yeah,
and that's why to me in the Legend of Zelda, like Link is like, you know, he's all in like Ocarina of Time, you know, raised in a forest, you know. Just, you know,
because it's a magical place.
Yeah.
You know? And to me, like, forests are like really like peaceful.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and the Master Sword is always like buried in a forest somewhere. You know. It's just.
And
I love forests.
You know, I'm like, you can feel there's like this calm energy, like that forests have, that like, I went out in the forest in the middle of the night one time when I was at Mel and Dave's house. I told you about that.
Yeah.
And I was just like vibing so hard. I was like, holy moly, like I'm just like here in this beautiful place, and you know, it's just like I'm just soaking in the life force of all these trees and animals and stuff that live out here, and these people who live out here. They're strange people living in those woods, but I think it's really cool. 'Cause I'm like, they're just like they built their houses, or my grandpa built their houses, you know, because he built a lot of houses out there. And so I'm just like, man, this is an amazing place, but I don't like living here in this stupid desert, you know. That's why I like Kennewick too. Was like, Tri-Cities had a lot more trees because we were on the Columbia River.
Right.
You know, so you're just like, oh, there are like trees that grow here, and grass grows there.
There's still plenty of places in Tri-Cities that are pretty deserty though.
Yeah, but if you get like more like Kennewick-y, like, and especially near the river, there are some nice areas.
Okay.
I really like Kennewick in particular. Because like Pasco especially can get kind of deserty. Yeah. Like looking out my window. Right. Yeah. there was just like some sagebrush and then an airport, and then more sagebrush after that. And so it wasn't like that great. But as you get close to the river and throughout Kennewick, it's nice. And the other thing that is way underrated is grass. Because here in Sela, like, grass has to be like watered regularly,
Mm-hmm.
or it will die.
We fight with the grass so much, you know, like...
We've stopped fighting with the grass because we have 2.5 acres and we
yeah.
don't have good enough sprinklers to cover the entire thing. Because you guys have irrigation now, right?
Yeah.
So you don't even have to fuck with it.
Whereas, we have underground sprinklers and stuff.
Yeah. We used to have these tripod sprinklers that we would have to be moving around all day long.
With hoses and stuff?
With hoses running around. And it was just a nightmare. And so we just stopped fucking with it.
Yeah.
Because, like... And so all our grass is dead. And, you know, it's just like a couple trees that are like managing to stay alive. And they drop pine needles everywhere. So you can't really walk barefoot in the grass because the grass is dead. It's full of pine needles. And it's full of these little spiky shrubs. Little tiny, not even shrubs, but like these little tiny plants that are just spiky. And it's hard to describe them, but they're not fun to step on.
Like the ones that get in your shoes all the time?
No, not like cheatgrass.
Or I mean, goat heads?
No.
Not goat heads, really?
No, they're these little, I don't know, they're little pokey plants. And if you step on them, then it hurts, because they're pokey. That's all that's all I know.
Does everywhere have goat heads, or is it just like desert places like us?
I don't know. Well, probably just deserts.
Yeah, so I wonder if there's like
I don't know actually what
people
they come
that have
from.
never heard of a goat head, like, you know.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. I mean, because I used
to
to
goat heads.
Yeah.
Like
speaking
that sounds pretty satanic to me.
Speaking of goat heads, speaking of living in California, my cousins, when we went over there, were boiling a goat head one time.
That's so metal.
And it smelled so bad, it was ridiculous. Ugh, man.
God.
Yeah. But it was really interesting because, you know, there's not a lot of times in your life where you show up to your cousin's house, you're like, what are you doing? And he's like, well, I'm getting ready to boil this goat head. And you're like... Yeah.
My cousins aren't that interesting.
Yeah. I love Mel and Dave. They're really cool. Dave has a ponytail and a cool beard, you know. And they're just like... They cook a lot, and they have like this cool house, and they're like small business owners. You know, they sell compost tea, and you know, they've got cool lives out there.
Yeah, I've got a few interesting cousins, but like most of them are just, you know, living normal lives.
Yeah. Not everybody is blessed with some weird hippies.
Yeah, goblin heritage.
Half of their family. Yeah.
Goblin heritage.
Yeah, because the hippie side of my family is the cool side of my family. You know.
I don't want to be like my sister and grow up and just like have a really like, you know, she just has like a really nice job, and then she just says things on Facebook so that gets people mad at her. That's just her whole life now. You know. Yeah. You just like you're like your entire life is your job, and you just live in a suburb, and your entire life is having that job in that suburb and not even thinking about like heavy things, and I don't know. I don't know what I'm getting at.
My grandpa and my grandma, they used to like do like serious political stuff,
right?
Like protesting and like going to El Salvador. And there was something, I don't know the history of it, but apparently there was some stuff that happened in El Salvador, and they went there and like did stuff. I don't even know, but you know, they've done a lot of like serious like working to affect change, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, that's cool, but that's one thing that kind of irritates me about these social media justice warriors. Mm-hmm. Like, we have a lot of friends from high school that just like are shaming you if you don't like post things on social media, and it's like for certain political like active like things right now,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like you can be, just because you're not posting on social media to your like 150 followers that nobody actually listens to you anyway, doesn't mean that you're not being an activist in any way.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's like, and those people that are like entirely like putting so much stuff on their social media,
Yeah.
it's like, who do you think you're influencing?
Yeah, and some people, it's like
they're not doing anything else other than that.
They'll do like the bare minimum, like post about it, and then they're just like, they just call it good, and they're like, yeah, I did my part for the cause.
And even if they post about it like a bunch on their story, it like makes them think that they're better than the people that just do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you're not reaching, if any, like very many more people than those people are, and you're not doing anything else.
Yeah.
Then
and because I've been trying to think of like ways that I can like help people, and like without just doing like social media stuff, but at the same time without like necessarily just going out and like protesting, because I think there are a lot of people at these protests who are speaking their minds, and I don't think I particularly have anything new to say about the situation. So I'm like, how can I help people, and without like necessarily putting my hat in the ring like that, in that way. And I've been thinking about, I've been doing my first aid training, and I've been thinking like, if I was to get my first aid certification, then I could possibly like go to protests as in like a medical capacity, like to be there to help people who like, because there are people who are getting like their shit kicked in by the like riot police.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh
and so I'm like, if there's one thing that I think I would feel solid about like doing, it is like people. Help people who are being attacked at protests and stuff, because that's not fair, you know. And a lot of people have said like probably like, don't do this because then you're going to be a target for the riot police. And that just shows you how like crazy
they're targeting healers.
That's
a war crime.
Yeah. And I'm like that's how crazy shit's gotten.
Yeah. That
like people are
that's
like
that's the same thing as like nuking or like firing a missile at a hospital.
Yeah.
You know? Just scaled down a couple.
Granted, I'm no hospital, but
they're no country either, you know.
Yeah, and I did think it was funny, like thinking about myself. I'm like, yeah, I'm the healer, you know, because I've never been a tank.
Res me.
Yeah, I'm Mercy. Yeah, I'm running around. But yeah, I'm like, I think that'd be really cool. I think that'd be the most effective place for me to like actually help people, you know. Because I don't think I'm necessarily going to be like the person who speaks out and everybody listens to me, and you know, I think that I could do a lot more good through that than like necessarily just protesting, you know. And the other thing is that like, if I am there trying to help people and then I get my shit kicked in by the riot police, then I have a pretty solid case to be like, you guys kicked my shit in, and that's not okay, you know, and really show that. You're
like, I wasn't even protesting anything. I was just helping people.
Trying to help people not die or get seriously injured, you know. And so it can be like, look what's happening, you know, because reporters are getting attacked, just protesters are getting attacked.
People sitting on their porch.
Yeah. Are getting shot with paint canisters.
Yeah.
Oh my god. It's insane. It's insanity. And I'm like, I think, and because the other thing is like, I think just being Krog and like going there and just like, I don't know what I was thinking, like, what would I say to people who if they come up to me and be like, what are you doing? You know? And I think if I had an actual purpose for being there, it would be a lot easier, you know. I'll be Krog the healer in this sense, you know. So yeah, I'm the cleric, essentially.
Yeah.
I forgot the outro again. I don't remember.
I was gonna say something, but
We should write it down.
Yeah, we probably should.
That's really what we should do.
Well, I mean, it can be similar to the intros, like, thanks for joining us, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And then this is Nolan, this is Shane.
Yeah.
And this has been.
Well, guys, this has been the Catfish Connection. I'm Nolan.
And I'm Shane.
We'll see you next time.